I'm supposed to speak tonight about the Western Hermetic tradition. I've spoken and written so much about the Western Hermetic tradition that it bores me. However, I'll say something about the Western Hermetic tradition. You know, the Earth is hollow, of course. Everybody here knows that. You wouldn't be in an occult bookstore in Santa Cruz if you didn't know the Earth is hollow.
February 1990, we all know that.
Yeah, well, one of the people who knew it was Jules Verne. That's why he wrote Journey to the Center of the Earth. As a matter of fact, it's in several of Jules Verne's novels. And if you get a hold of Michael Lamé's book, Jules Verne, Initiate and Initiator, you'll find out Jules Verne was a member of the Priory of Sion. You see, we're getting into the Western occult tradition after all. Now, who are the Priory of Sion? Well, according to this book, Jules Verne, Initiate and Initiator, the Priory of Sion were formed in the 1890s as a front for the Illuminati of Bavaria, who had decided to go underground and conceal their existence and set up a front organization to recruit people. So the Priory of Sion are the old Illuminati of Bavaria, still in business under a new name. And Jules Verne was one of their highest initiates. Hey, you're getting real heavy secret stuff tonight. This is what you paid for, I trust. And one of the major secrets of the Priory of Sion is that the Earth is hollow, contrary to what profane science thinks. The Earth is hollow, and there's an opening that goes right down to the center of the Earth at Rennes-le-Château in southern France, near the Spanish border. There's a church there. It's called the Church of Mary Magdalene, and it says over the door, "This place is terrible." And if you go down to the cellar of that church and press the right brick at the right time, a staircase opens leading down, and you go right down to the center of the Earth, which is full of superhuman beings who are immortal, who never die. They have the secret of immortality. And they are going to give it to the human race when we're ready for it. But we're not ready for it yet. But the purpose of the Priory of Sion is to get us ready for it. Okay? You know how many Freemasons it takes to change a light bulb? That's a craft secret. The Michael Lamé's theory that the Priory of Sion are allied with immortal superhuman beings who live in the center of the hollow earth, and you can get in through a door in that church, the Church of Mary Magdalene in Rennes-le-Château. That's only, actually, that may not be the whole truth. I hate to disillusion you, but just because you buy a book in a New Age bookstore doesn't mean that everything in it is true. If you buy one of my books, at least half of it is batshit crazy. And that is my whole approach. It horrifies me that somebody might believe something I've written, because I know how fallible I am. I've had to live with myself for 58 years, and I know what a schmuck I can be. And the thought that somebody's going to set me up as an idol and say it must be true because Robert Anton Wilson wrote it, that is such a terrifying thought that I perforce had to invent this style of paradox and play to prevent people from thinking they're getting the truth out of my books. What you're getting out of my books is my guesses, my hunches, sometimes my prejudices, but I don't know. Unlike the Pope, the Ayatollah, Roger Nish, Carl Sagan, and all the other prophets of all the various, I don't claim to know the truth. All I claim to know is little hunks of what I've experienced and guesses I've made. Like I guess there's a world external to my brain. I can't prove it, but it seems more reasonable because I have pretty good luck. Most of the time, when I'm writing and I want a cup of coffee, I have pretty good luck at getting up from the word processor, out the door, down the hall, into the kitchen to the coffee machine and bringing back coffee. And I don't think that would work as often as it does if there were no real world out there. I know there are philosophers who can prove there is no real world out there, but I find it more convenient to assume that there is. I also assume I don't know anything about it. except how to find the coffee. Beyond that, it gets more and more perplexing and confusing. For instance, according to Gerard de Sade's La Race Fabuleuse, published in Paris in 1973, Edition J. Louis, and my French is lousy, you don't have to tell me. Gerard de Sade, La Race Fabuleuse, 1973, also deals with the Priory of Sight. He explains that the works of Nostradamus do not deal with the future. Most people think Nostradamus deals with the future, which makes for a lot of puzzles, because if you start studying the history of interpretations of Nostradamus, you find everything in Nostradamus has been interpreted a different way every century. There are quatrains in there that some people thought referred to Napoleon. Then later on they decided they referred to Bismarck. Then later on they decided they referred to Kaiser Wilhelm. Later it was Winston Churchill or Adolf Hitler. Then it was Ronald Reagan. And they were all highly ambiguous. A couple of months, you had an earthquake here. Before your earthquake, there was a big earthquake panic in Los Angeles because some cuckoo let out that he had deciphered one of these mysterious verses of Nostradamus, and it said everybody in Los Angeles was going to get dumped in the Pacific. Oh, they're going to get shaken like martinis and then dumped in the Pacific Ocean on such and such a day. And a lot of people actually left Los Angeles. I read this quatrain from Nostradamus, and it seemed to me it could refer to any city, any day, and any natural calamity. It wasn't even necessarily an earthquake. It could have referred to a cyclone in Miami. But people got terrorized and fled Los Angeles, which is all to the good. It's too crowded down there anyway. The only thing to be said for malathion spraying is that it's going to thin out the population. Those with the less hardy genes will die, and the tough ones will survive. According to de Sade, this simulation of prophecy in Nostradamus is all a big hoax. This is just to keep Nostradamus in print by attracting the superstitious and gullible. Meanwhile, as long as Nostradamus is in print, what he actually deals with is not the future, but the past. What Nostradamus' quatrains refer to is the hidden history of the past, especially the past of France. And the hidden history of the past of France, as Gerard de Sade deciphers it from Nostradamus' quatrains, is full of the most amazing things you never heard of before. The old royal family of France, the Merovingians, I will not attempt the French pronunciation at all. I will not even make an effort at it. The English call them Merovingians, and I can pronounce that, so they're Merovingians for tonight. The French royal family up until the 8th to the 9th century, the Merovingians, disappeared entirely. Nobody knows what became of them. The last Merovingian king, Dagobert II, was murdered in the Ardennes forest on December 23rd, 789. Why December 23rd? Oh, well. No, I don't want to get into that. Why the Ardennes forest, which is named after a bear goddess? No, we shouldn't get into that either. That'll just lead us down into further obscurity. The Merovingian Dagobert disappeared for several hundred years from history. He was considered one of the mythical kings until somebody in the 18th century, at the dawn of modern historical science, when they went back to original text and compared one text with another and started applying scientific method to history, they proved Dagobert really existed. Why was he murdered, and why was he obliterated from history for several hundred years? Well, according to Gerard de Sade, the Merovingians were systematically wiped out by the Vatican. The Vatican had to get rid of all the Merovingians because the Merovingians posed a serious threat to them. The Merovingians were descended from the tribe of Benjamin in ancient Israel and Old Testament days, and their mates, who were not human. The tribe of Benjamin intermarried with extraterrestrials from a planet in the system of the star Sirius.